What I always like to do and end on is, and I'll ask you both to answer the question, is if you had to go back and give yourself some advice, your younger self some advice, some things you wish you knew, maybe some, some words of encouragement, maybe some things to avoid. Is there anything that comes to mind of what you'd like to tell your younger self or your current self going into property number 2?
Yeah. I think start sooner for sure, like years sooner, months sooner, all of it. And I think to not stress about picking the perfect location, but just pick the location that works with what you're looking at in that moment. And it's not the last one or the, just pick one that makes sense given what you have on the table.
Yeah. And I would say don't let perfection be the enemy of good, because, you can take good and you can elevate it to great. Right. So I think that was one thing that, we're pretty detail oriented when it comes to a lot of these things. And when you get into that, you can kind of get into that, analysis paralysis and find reasons not to do something. But when, 9 out of the 10 reasons are pointing you towards doing it, don't dwell on the one, and really kind of, be ready to act. Right. So I think that was something for us that, we pushed ourselves to be able to do and kind of get out of our comfort zone a little bit and say, all right, hey, yep, we're going to do it. Let's do it. And then, again, we didn't let perfection be the enemy of good on that one.
I love it. And the number one piece of advice we always hear somebody say is start sooner. Like, don't wait on stuff. We always wish we would have started yesterday. The next best time is right now. Right. And then I love the advice of, listen, there's never a perfect property. There's never a perfect market. And sometimes we want that, especially on our first property, right? And we realize that, hey, everything doesn't have to be perfect, right? We're going to line up as good as we can to mitigate the risk and set these things up for success and maximize the assets. And we know we're going to keep doing it again. And it's, a lot of times we're taking, B properties and turning them into A properties and instead of finding that A property a lot of times. And so it's great advice just to say, because high performers, they have a tendency to try to be, everything needs to be perfect, right? It's like, okay, well, I don't want this to mess up, so I'm going to wait for perfection. And when you wait for perfection, you just end up, nothing happens, right? It's just a very, very difficult, a difficult bar to set for yourself to try to achieve. And ultimately what happens is you don't do anything. And so I think it's a great piece of advice.